Hello, friends. Welcome back to my channel. Happy New Year. So today is January 8th. It's a Saturday. And I am just now getting around to doing my year in review video for 2021 because I have been sick. So like the night before New Year's Eve, I started to get sick. Well, I should back that up a little bit. So like the day after Christmas, my husband got sick with a really bad head cold. We thought that it was the dreaded C word. I'm not going to say that word because every site, every social media on YouTube and everywhere, you get censored for saying that word. So I'm not saying it, but we thought that that's what he probably had. So he went and got tested and it was negative. And so it ended up just being this really nasty cold that's going around. So that was on Sunday after Christmas warm up. But anyway, so that was on a Sunday. And then he was really, really sick. And then like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I was feeling fine. I was great. Didn't think I was going to get it. And then of course, then Thursday night, I woke up like kind of in the middle of the night, Thursday night, and I was sick. Like it just hit me. Just this really, really nasty head cold. I don't know how else to say it, but it was just nasty. I have not been that sick in years. Like I've had other things going on, but I haven't been sick like that in a really long time. So yeah, it was really disappointing because we had, plans for New Year's Eve. Had to cancel the plans. I was in bed at 7 o'clock on New Year's Eve and I didn't care. I mean, I was just tired, sick and tired. And so, like I said, today is January 8th, and I am just now today feeling pretty good. My goal was that I wanted to do this video like, January 1st or, that weekend. And I wasn't doing nothing. I felt like crap, total crap. Today, I woke up feeling pretty dang good. So, okay, so so the other thing, I didn't think to mention this, but the other thing that happened during all of that around the holidays last week is Oakley had some issues too. And this is really weird. I did not know that Great Danes are prone to kidney issues. I mean, Oakley is our third Great Dane. You would think that I would know all of this stuff, but I just didn't realize it. Our last Great Dane, Magic, he actually went into kidney failure at the end of his life. And, it was awful, but I didn't realize that that was such a thing with Great Danes, but apparently it is. Oakley's only 3 years old, and this is the second time it's happened to him last year. It happened last summer was the first time, and we were very scared. We thought we were losing him. And then last week it happened again. And what happens is apparently he drinks too much water. He loves water. Like if you give him a full bowl of water, he will drink the entire bowl until it is completely dry. Like it's like he doesn't know to stop drinking or something. I don't know. It's really weird, but he loves water and he will drink. If you give him water, he'll drink it all. So in the summer, we realized that happened. He had drank too much water too fast. It was hot out. We just assumed it was just because of the summer and he drank too much water and his kidneys stopped working right. And then we thought we were done with that until last week it happened again. And which is really weird because so when this happened in the summertime, we went to the vet. We had a few different trips to the vet that summer. And what we ended up having to do was a 2-day water deprivation on him, which is absolutely horrible. You have to take away their water for 2 days. basically to force them into dehydration, kind of like to shock the kidneys into working again. And it's horrible. It is horrible. It's horrible on him, horrible on us. He could only have like just a few ounces of water a day. It was bad. So when we did that in the summertime, it worked and he was fine. And we just thought, okay, it was a one-time thing. The vet told us just to limit his daily water intake to, around a gallon. I mean, he's a big boy. He's 160 pounds. So a gallon is for his body weight. Well, that's what we've been doing. We've been limiting his water every day to a gallon a day. But apparently last week, he must have drank, I don't know, too much too fast at once, or I don't know what happened, but it happened again. So we were kind of freaking out a little bit because we thought, why is this happening again? So we had to do another 2-day water deprivation. It was horrible. I don't even know how else to say it. I mean, he was going to the sinks, trying to get water out of the sinks. He was licking his dry water dish. It was like torture for him, for us. It was horrible. We hated every stinking minute of it. But it worked. It's like it shocked his kidneys. We did another urine sample after the 2 days and everything's working fine. And he is working fine now. So now what we have to do with him is we are basically limiting his water even more as far as how much he can have at one time. So like we can only give him like maybe 1 or 2 cups of water at a time. I tell you, it's been a stressful last week, but anyway, we're past all of that. It is a new year. I am determined that this year is going to be a really awesome year. I know that I got off to a really, really rough start with this whole head cold, crappy sickness thing. But I really do believe that this is going to be a good year. I'm going to make it a good year. That's part of my, I guess you would call it my resolution for this year, is I just want to be more positive. I just want to be a better person. I just want to be more optimistic. I'm really working on that. So anyway, I just want to kind of go through what 2021 was like for me, because I know some of you know everything, the whole step of the way, everything that I did, because I share my life on social media. I share in my stories on Instagram, on my Facebook page. I share. And I think a lot of that is just, for one thing, to keep me accountable to my goals and my, healthy habits and all of that stuff. But also just to motivate and inspire other people. I just like to share. So some people think it's weird to share that much, but it's me. I like to share. So anyway, I'm going to share with you what 2021 was like for me. Okay, so a little bit of a history about me. As far as my health history, I have hypothyroidism, and it has been the biggest pain in my rear. I'm telling you, people don't realize how your thyroid really affects everything. I mean, how you feel, just how you function, so anyway, I have hypothyroidism. I've had that for many years, many years. I've been on thyroid medication. I don't know. I don't even know what year I was diagnosed. I can't remember. It's been so long. And with the thyroid issue comes fatigue, a lot of fatigue. I struggle with that more than probably anything. Fatigue. The other big issue that I have with my health is IBS. And it took me a long time to know and figure out that is what I have. So my entire life, I'm talking like my childhood, my teenage years, my early adulthood, I had all these crazy issues with my stomach that were really bad. And I didn't know what it was. I thought that the things that were happening to me were the normal things that happen to everybody. And that's not the case. It wasn't until, I don't know, several years ago when I really got into health and fitness and understanding my body and trying to figure out, all the stuff with my body, that I finally learned that I have IBS. And so there's IBS-C, which is IBS with constipation, IBS-D, which is IBS with diarrhea. I lean more towards the D side. So it can really disrupt your life when you have issues with IBS. The other issue that I have is reflux. I've had reflux for a lot of years too. Sometimes it is so painful that it wakes me up in the night. Like there have been times where I've thought that, I was having a heart attack because the pain was so bad for my reflux. So I'm on medications for my reflux and for my thyroid. I also have a history of migraine headaches. They're under control now, but I would probably get a migraine headache, at least once a week. Maybe not always every week, but I used to get debilitating migraine headaches to where I had to lay in a dark bedroom with ice packs on my head. And it would be like maybe a couple of days where that I would be like that. They would be so severe that I would vomit. They're just horrible. So for those of you out there who have migraine headaches, I get it. They're bad. People who don't get headaches don't understand. They don't understand migraine headaches. They don't understand just regular headaches. If you're lucky enough to not get headaches, you are lucky, I'm telling you. But so that's another big thing that I've always dealt with is migraine headaches. And then this has been, I'm trying to think how many years this has been. I want to say like, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 or 7 years. I've had really bad chronic nasal congestion. I actually had, I had a deviated nasal septum, and I don't know, it's been quite a few years ago now, but I had no surgery to straighten out my septum, and then hoping that it would fix my nasal congestion. It didn't. It didn't fix it. But so anyway, that's just a little bit of a background on some of the issues that I've had with my health going into what I'm going to share about 2021. So back in 2015, I really started focusing on trying to eat healthy, exercise, just trying to figure out what I need to eat to make me feel good. Because for everybody, that's different. So in 2015, I was eating the standard American crappy diet. And then I started getting into healthy eating, which basically was lots of fruits and vegetables, some proteins, some healthy fats, but it was just very heavily focused on vegetables. So did that for a few years. It didn't really make me feel that great. I started kind of investigating and researching the keto diet. And, I used to think it was a crazy fad diet. I used to think it was stupid to cut out carbs. I've learned a lot. I've learned and I understand now that it's actually very healthy to eat that way. So in 2019, it was like the end of 2019, I think it was in October, I started the keto diet, and I did that, through all of 2020. And during that year, I learned about the carnivore diet, and it's basically just the keto diet, but taking it just a step further, cutting out, I think that he wants to go outside. You want to say hi? I think he's very confused why I'm in the computer. All right, so I'm gonna go let him outside and do whatever it is he needs to do, and I'll be back. Okay, he doesn't really know what he wants. He just went outside briefly, but anyway, so 2019 started keto, did that through 2020. I learned about the carnivore diet, which is basically the keto diet where you just basically cut out all of the vegetables. You cut out plant foods, you cut out vegetables, and nuts are really the big things. Because for some people, like myself, some people don't tolerate those things that well. So the carnivore diet is just an extra step. And Oakley is he's going to join us. Okay, so I decided in January of 2021, I was going to go all in with the carnivore diet and just, see what happens. And so I felt really, really good in January. Like I couldn't believe how different I felt just getting rid of the vegetables and the nuts and, almond flour and all of that stuff. I felt really good. And it wasn't hard for me because I love meat and eggs. So the carnivore diet, you can eat meat, you can eat eggs, you can eat, fish, chicken, seafood, stuff like that. You can eat dairy because dairy comes from an animal. So it's basically anything that comes from an animal is allowed on the carnivore diet. So I went all in January and I felt really good. I was like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? I didn't realize how much inflammation vegetables was causing for me. It doesn't happen for everybody, but for me, I realized that. Okay, so then in February, I started experiencing what is called oxalate dumping. And I had never heard of oxalates before, and nobody really talks about them that much. And I didn't really know that this was a thing, that this was an issue. So what that means is when you eat things, there are certain foods that are very high in a toxin called oxalates. Spinach is very high in oxalates. Almonds are very high. Black tea. There's some other plants. I can't really remember the whole list, but I'm thinking of the things that I was eating myself. Oh, chocolate. Chocolate's very high in oxalates. I was eating a lot of spinach. I mean, really, even when I was, before I started keto and then into keto, I ate a lot of spinach. And even when I stopped eating spinach, I was still putting like a greens powder in my drinks. So it wasn't a surprise that I had oxalate dumping. So what that means is when you eat certain foods that have oxalates, well, oxalates are a toxin that is harmful to your body. It's like a crystal. Well, when you eat foods that are high in oxalates, your body is like, whoa, we cannot have these things floating around in your body. They will do harm. We can't have this. So your body takes those oxalates and just stores them in the tissues of your body. And so then when you stop eating oxalates, then all of a sudden your body is like, oh, okay, we're not bringing this toxin into our body anymore. So now we can slowly start releasing the toxins that we have been storing in your tissue. Okay. So that release is called oxalate dumping. And it is different for different people. It's different symptoms. Some people have skin issues and like these things coming out of their skin, like actual like things coming out of their skin. For some people, it's stomach issues. I've heard of people having things coming out of their eyes. It's like it's scary to think that we are putting this toxin into our bodies and it's so harmful that our body has to do that. But for me, what I experienced was, for one thing, I had really bad stomach issues, which was no surprise because of my IBS. I have stomach issues anyway. The other thing that happened is I felt like I had a bladder infection, and that's apparently a common symptom of oxalate dumping. I felt like I had a bladder infection. I got tested and I didn't have a bladder infection, but I felt like I had one. And then the other thing, which I'm sorry that this is just a really gross topic, but oxalate dumping can cause an overgrowth of yeast in your body. So I got a yeast infection. Well, sorry if there are any guys watching this video. It's just, it is what it is. But I have never had that issue in my life. Like that's not ever been a thing that I've ever dealt with. So it was miserable, absolutely miserable. And so what I learned was, when you transition from eating a lot of oxalates to no oxalates, this can happen very fast. So it's recommended that you kind of gradually ease into it. Well, I didn't know that. So, you still have some foods that, kind of, keep that from happening. So what I ended up doing is I had to add some things back into my diet. So I started drinking black tea every day because tea is very high in oxalates. I started eating a spoonful of dark, like sugar-free dark chocolate chips because they're very high in oxalates. Started drinking almond milk, which I don't really know that almond milk is super high in oxalates, but it does, have some. So I just added a few of those things back into my diet just to try to slow down and stop that dumping. And it worked. It helped. So then by March, and I do have a list of events. If it looks like I keep looking at something, I am, because I didn't want to forget anything. So then into March, I started to feel better. I was feeling really good. It was pretty, uneventful. The worst thing about 2021 in March, like March, April, May, is, we always go on vacations and we didn't get to do any vacations. We ended up canceling our vacations because of the pandemic. And so that sucked. That was disappointing because we always look forward to our vacations. So, so like in the March, April, May timeframe, my biggest complaints were that I felt much more tired than usual. I always have fatigue because of my thyroid, but I was super exhausted. Like I didn't want to get out of bed exhausted. Like I would sleep 8 or 9 hours. And then in the morning, I still didn't want to get out of bed. I felt like I hadn't slept at all. I was just so exhausted. And I was having just really, really bad nasal congestion. I'm not going to go into the details of that because it's really gross, the things that were happening to me. But the nasal congestion was seriously making me miserable. Like there were times I just wanted to cry because I was just so sick and tired of what was going on with that. So in June, I had my regular doctor's appointment scheduled just to go check my thyroid labs, check all the normal things. So I went and got just my normal routine labs done. My thyroid labs they had changed, not for whatever reason, I don't know, they had changed. So that explained why I had suddenly gotten so much more exhausted. I was so tired. So we adjusted my medications for my thyroid. The other thing that we realized was that my hematocrit was really, really high. And so then looking back, my doctor was like, so your hematocrit has been elevated ever since 2017. Like every time we do my annual blood work since 2017, my hematocrit has been elevated, which was concerning. So she referred me to a hematologist to try to figure out what was causing that. She did like an extra blood test, like it was called a blood smear on my blood just to, check it further. And it said that my possible diagnosis was Polycythemia Vera, which, oh, he must see something outside. He's going to go investigate. So Polycythemia Vera is a rare blood cancer. It's like a genetic thing. And I was terrified. I was a mess. I was an emotional mess. I thought I had cancer. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to die. I mean, it was scary. It was very scary. So I went to the hematologist. He did a blood test on me that is specifically supposed to detect if you have polycythemia vera, and it came back negative. So it just said that I don't have the mutation that indicates that condition. So that was good. However, we still have no idea why my hematocrit is so elevated, which basically means I have too many red blood cells. We still don't know. We still don't know what's causing it, but it's still an issue. But so anyway, that was emotional, frustrating. It's still frustrating because I have no idea what's causing it. I don't know. And apparently my doctors don't care because it keeps happening and they're just like, you know, whatever. Okay, so the other thing when I went to see my doctor is we talked about this horrible nose congestion that I've been having for years, like seriously years. So I went to the ENT doctor and he did a culture of my nose and it came back with an overgrowth of a staph infection, which, you know, everybody has some staph in their body. But this was an overgrowth to the point where he was like, we have to treat this. So he put me on antibiotics. He put me on a 3-week course of a pretty strong antibiotic. I was not happy because I hate taking antibiotics because they just, you know, if you don't need them, you shouldn't take them. And they do things to your body that, you know, it's just, I hate taking antibiotics. But in this situation, I needed them. So, okay. So the beginning of July, this was like the end of June when I went to the ENT doctor and he gave me the prescription. So the beginning of July was when I started the antibiotics. And it was so frustrating because I was like 2 pounds away from my complete goal weight at the beginning of July. And then I started the antibiotics and it just all went downhill from there. You know, anyway, so July was a rough month. The antibiotics, even though I took probiotics, I was eating yogurt every day. I was eating sauerkraut every day, trying so hard to, you know, not get C. diff and just, you know, control the side effects of the antibiotics. My IBS got really, really aggravated. Like just, I mean, I'm talking like going to the bathroom like probably 7 times a day. It was miserable. Miserable. That was my word for July, miserable. And usually July is like my favorite month of the year because I love summer. 4th of July is my favorite holiday. You know, I just, all that stuff. But it was the worst year for me, or I'm sorry, the worst month of the year for me was in July. Sorry, I'm still very congested from being sick. Even though I feel better, I still have this stuff happening. So I apologize that I keep sniffling and clearing my throat and all that stuff. But so then in August, I was feeling better. My antibiotics were done. My stomach was a mess, but my nose congestion was better for like a week. And then like after I finished my antibiotics, a week went by, I started having all the same disgusting things happening that were happening before. So went back to the ENT doctor. We did another repeat culture and I still had staph infection. This time it said that it was resistant to the antibiotic that I had been on in July. So we started another antibiotic. This time it was just a 10-day course, but it was a very strong antibiotic. One that is very, very well known to cause C. diff, which terrified me because I did not want to get C. diff. So yeah, just kept doing my probiotics and all that stuff. And August was August was pretty miserable too, which sucks because summer is my favorite time of year. But yeah, stomach was a mess. Finally, I finished those antibiotics and I was feeling better. So, not completely better, but better than I had been as far as my nose. So, it was okay. My ENT doctor also ordered allergy testing. And so I can't remember, I think that was maybe the end of August. I went and did allergy testing. It did show that I have allergies, which, he said probably contributed to a lot of what was happening with my nose as well. So I could do allergy shots or just do over-the-counter nose sprays. And so I've just been doing the over-the-counter nose sprays. They don't really help. It is what it is, but I don't really want to do allergy shots. So that's where I was at, before all of this cold stuff hit. I was still having some nose issues. But so then it's like I'm all done with the antibiotics. And then it was like going into September, October. And I was like, what am I going to do about my stomach? This is ridiculous. I had totally messed up my stomach with all of those antibiotics that I took. It was just unbelievable. And my body was inflamed. I had gained weight just from all of the inflammation that was happening in my body. It was so frustrating. So then I think it was in October, I started taking, September, I was still having some fatigue issues and I was trying to deal with the thyroid stuff when dealing with all of this other stuff. I started taking a thyroid supplement thinking it would, help me feel better. And it was just an over-the-counter supplement that just had like iodine and selenium and some other things in it. It didn't help. It didn't make me feel better at all. I still was exhausted. I still was struggling to get out of bed. So I was having my fatigue issues. I was having my stomach issues, still having some nasal congestion stuff that made me miserable, but it was a crazy year, So that was September. I tried this thyroid supplement. It really didn't really help. In October, I did a consultation with a functional medicine practitioner, and I started some kind of high strength probiotics and digestive enzymes. I had like 3 different bottles that I was taking to try to balance out what was happening with my stomach issues. So that was for my stomach. And then we also started me on a different thyroid supplement. I stopped the other one and started taking, it's like a desiccated thyroid supplement that's basically beef thyroid. And so I started taking that, and I started to feel better. Like as far as energy, my energy was a lot better. My stomach still wasn't better, but my energy was a lot better from taking that thyroid supplement. So I was really excited about that. The bottle said, or not the bottle, but the instructions you receive said you could take up to like 8 capsules a day. And I was like, that's a lot. I started with 1, and then I was, feeling really good. So then a few weeks later, I increased it to 2. And then a few weeks later, I increased it to 3. And I didn't go any further than that, but I was feeling pretty good. I had energy. It was nice. I hadn't felt energy like that in a while, just because my thyroid is just a mess. So I felt pretty good that I had my thyroid, doing what it needed to be doing, but I was still dealing with all of the really, really bad stomach issues. And I was also having just a lot of heartburn issues. So I talked to my GI doctor, and it had been a while since we have done an EGD, and which is like an upper scope where they, there's the colonoscopy and then there's the upper endoscopy. So this was the upper one. So we scheduled that. I talked to her about all of what I had been going through, my antibiotics, all of my, issues with my stomach, and the fact that I was going to the bathroom like, 7 times a day, and I couldn't leave the house without taking Imodium. And so she did the test. She did biopsies all throughout. She did biopsies in my esophagus, in my stomach, and then, just into the small intestine. She tested for all kinds of, things, like bacteria like C. diff and H. pylori and parasites. And she tested for all of that stuff and it all came back negative, which was a relief. I did have inflammation in my stomach. So she did start me on a temporary medication just to kind of calm down the inflammation in my stomach. And my esophagus wasn't so inflamed, but my stomach was really inflamed. And then she also gave me a medication that is really specific to people with IBS, specifically IBS-D. So this medication was like, it was a miracle. It was a 10-day, no, 14-day. It was 2 weeks. It was a 2-week course. And they call it an antibiotic, but it's not like other antibiotics. Like the purpose of this one was to balance my gut bacteria, which is what I needed. So I started taking that, and like within the first week, I was feeling so much better. And that was, let's see, that was, I think the end of October. Yeah, the end of October. She gave me that medicine and it was like a miracle drug. I was so happy. It took care of all of my gut issues. And I have been fine since then with everything. It was just those stinking antibiotics that just screwed up my gut. So she gave me that medicine. It rebalanced my gut bacteria and everything is back to normal now. As normal can be for someone with IBS. So November, I was feeling pretty good. I had my stomach issues were good. My energy was pretty good. And then it's like the end of the month, I had an issue. So I was sleeping one night and I woke up because I felt like my heart was just racing, like my heart was just going to jump out of my chest, like it was pounding, beating so fast, so hard. And I was sleeping, which is weird. And my Apple Watch alerted me and said, your heart rate is too fast. It appears you are resting and your heart rate is too fast. And it ended up getting up to like 140. And it was really scary. And it did not slow back down until like mid-morning the next day. And I came really close to going to the emergency room because I was really scared. Like it really scared me. And so, wasn't really sure what was going on, but I had a feeling it probably was related to my thyroid. I just was guessing that, just because your thyroid does regulate your heart rate. So I just had this feeling that it was something to do with that. So I stopped all of my supplements. Like that next day, I stopped that beef thyroid supplement. I stopped all the supplements that I had been taking. The only thing that I continued taking was just a multivitamin. Stopped everything else, and I contacted my doctor and I let her know this happened. And I don't know why, I don't know what's going on, but this happened. So she recommended that we do blood work and check my thyroid and, check some other things. So we checked my thyroid and it was like it had taken a nosedive the other direction. Like my numbers before had been too high and now they were like so low to the point where it can cause heart palpitations. So my first thought was, it might be that beef thyroid that I was taking. I think I would have been okay if I had just stuck with just one a day. But the fact that I increased it to 2 and then I increased it to 3, I don't think I probably needed that much. And so it's like I was getting too much. So I stopped taking that, even though it made me feel really good. It obviously works because, it kind of moved my thyroid in the other direction, but it just went too far. So we did that. We adjusted my thyroid medication, just a little bit. And then we did do a, heart monitor and all that stuff, which it came back okay, like normal rhythms, other than just some occasional, occasional irregular beats. But so basically it was very likely my thyroid that was causing my heart rate to go crazy. So I've been off of all of the supplements since the end of November. I didn't take any of them in December, and I haven't had any issues with my heart rate in, quite a few weeks. So uh, as good as that stuff made me feel, I just don't think it's a good idea for me to take it because it just went too far the other direction. December was pretty uneventful, other than getting sick at the end of the month. I can't really remember anything too exciting in December, but yeah, that was it. That was my year. Doesn't that sound fun? um, so 2021 was really just about healing my body. It wasn't really, it got to a point where I wasn't really focusing on weight loss or fat loss. I just wanted to feel good. Like that was my goal. I wanted energy. I wanted my stomach to be okay. I just wanted to feel good. I didn't really care so much about losing weight as much as I just felt, like I just wanted to heal my body and feel good. So I feel like by the end of the year, by December, I was, doing pretty good. My thyroid is still an issue. It's probably going to be an issue for the rest of my life, just trying to get it balanced out. But my gut issues are better. My energy has been a little bit better, up until this crazy head cold that I got. Healing was for 2021, and now for this year, for 2022, I want to continue to heal my body. I also want to try to lose a little bit of my fat. So I have like maybe 10 pounds of fat that I need to lose. I carry it around my belly. It's just frustrating trying to get rid of that. But, they say that the fat that you carry around your belly is the most unhealthy fat, that you can have. So I'm going to continue with a ketovore way of eating. And basically what that means is it's in between keto and carnivore. It's ketovore. And that just means it's basically a meat-based diet, but I still have vegetables once in a while. I still have some other keto friendly foods once in a while. I'm pretty close to strict carnivore, other than I still have black tea. I still sometimes drink almond milk, and I still sometimes will have like a spoonful of chocolate chips, like the, keto friendly, sugar-free, unsweetened dark chocolate chips, things like that. I still eat some dill pickles and some mayonnaise and I don't know, stuff like that. And sometimes I still have a salad when I go out to eat, or sometimes I just want some vegetables. I'm just not limiting myself to being super strict in any direction. I'm just eating to feel good. So if I can do okay eating a few vegetables, then I will. If I need to, then I'll, cut things out again. But it's all about listening to my body, trying to feel good, trying to heal things up. I just want to feel good. I want to feel good physically, emotionally, mentally. It's all about being better in 2022. I want to be a better person. I want to be a more positive person. So yeah. That was a lot. I feel like I have been talking for like 5 hours. I don't even know how long this video is. I apologize if it's super long. I'm going to stop it now. And yeah, so another goal I have for this year is I just really want to focus on doing a lot more videos. So I want to share, I want to motivate, inspire. I just, so all right. That's it. I hope you all have a great year. I hope I have a great year, and I'll talk to you soon. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any of my future videos.